the game in October 2016. Obviously went out with national championships and stuff like straight away after that, and have since had several players in top 8s of APAC, etc. But really only started to take over the game in the last few months. And so another win here for Japan would be a big deal for those guys.
Luker up against the Spell Hunter on his Paladins. This is a matchup that's definitely winnable. Again, you do want to put some early pressure. The issue is that by giving the Spell Hunter more minions to deal with, he's able to put on his own set of pressure. You do eventually lose to zombies, so Deathstalker Rexar, again, extremely important in the matchup if it can be found. The Spellstone puts a ton of, well, I was going to say pressure, but it's more than that for Paladin. They need to have a Consecration Pyromancer play to deal with the three threes.
So Luca just taking his time, nothing really worth going for there. Be interested to see if he does coin Call to Arms. He probably will, because it marches you along with your card draw to draw your second one. But he may choose to save the coin. You do need coins. It's nice to have a coin.
I think it's the dirty route that's good enough to justify, so I wouldn't mind it, yeah. The issue is that you risk triggering a cat trick.
And your combo's worse later.
Exactly.
It's harder to win your combo later.
And the coin is worth a lot with the Pyromancer, especially in the mid game when you're talking about, you know, the Spellstone. Sometimes you can go Pyromancer, coin, Potion of Heroism, another spell, and then bam.
Yeah, and he holds on to it. He's not dying anytime soon. Chooses to throw out the Protector this time.
Can appreciate that. Slow down his opponent a little bit. Posesi here being stranded a little bit on the cat tricks as he's got 2 of those. They're great. They're fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but they're mostly powerful when they come in early in the game, and Luker has not given him the ability to enable it.
And this is what you meant earlier about when you play your own minions, you enable your opponent's minions. Flanking Strike in particular is really good or bad for that, depending which side you're sat. If they've got nothing, it just doesn't really do much. That's why it can afford to be such a value card, because sometimes it does nothing.
Double Dirty Rat there for Luker off the Call to Arms. Arguably one of the, I think, the best outcome. He didn't get the Pyro, so he's not going to waste away most of the tools that his deck, you know, contains. So the Pyromancers are still lurking in there for equality. He picked up a Loot Hoarder to go with it, so he's going to cycle anyway. I think this was the best Call to Arms Luker could have hoped for.
Definitely really good, yeah. I think you're right. I think it's actually card for card perfect. Find it interesting, we hardly ever talk about Barnes in the Hunter deck anymore.
Well, I mean, if it comes out, it does, and then Paladin gets praise, that is, sorry, for equality. I say gets. It's more like,
yeah,
it says a prayer that he finds equality.
But I think people, when they first see this deck, wrongly assume it's all about the Barnes. That's just extra percentage in the deck. The deck is a control Hunter deck that sometimes kills you on turn 4.
Right, and you see Posesi here with a Rock Dalar. This is one card that, I think this is an acknowledgement that while Barnes is good, it's not good enough.
Sure.
Because you think to yourself, well, I could really use an extra bit of edge here. Like, I'd like to be able to have a value game if I want one. And that's precisely what Rock Dalar ends up letting him do. Spike-Rich Steed, absolutely amazing. Backbreaking against for the Hunter player when they run up against it. Because even if they have Hunter's Mark, it still takes them a ton of effort to catch up.
Interesting there that Luca kind of enabled this Dogs by not trading in his Loot Hoarder and not getting the card at the same time. Rating that 2 damage to face above sort of thinning the board down and drawing the card.
I think I agree with that. I think
right.
At this point, for him to win, he has to just dodge Deathstalker, and in many respects, that does involve, in fact, going face rather than making those little quirky trades on the board.
Here we go, Pyro Equality. That will buy him a load of time at some point in this game. Whether he needs it or not remains to be seen, but whatever the situation there, he is now in a position where Posesi's going to have to beat him twice.
Yeah, and Luker knows full well that Sunkeeper Tarim is also a ticket to victory in many cases. So being able to go wide, you know, using that hero power a lot, he's been doing that all game. Yes, he ran into Candle Shot and Unleash the Hounds, but if you can get enough 1-1s, the Hunter just does not have an answer to a filled-up board of 3-3s. It just doesn't. And so they have to usually start counter-pressuring early and try to close out the game as fast as possible.
Yeah, the Loot Hoarder play was consistent with that. So that is where he is going. And look at the hand difference. This Hunter deck doesn't usually empty its hand too badly. Obviously, it does a bit because it's got Rock Dalar for a reason. But this is insane here. And Luca has many ways of trading this board. Blood Mage into Consecration is very, very tempting.
I think I like that line of play a lot, as it still keeps the Pyromancer enabled for the future, and it gives you the card draw. One of the advantages of keeping the Pyro is, of course, you have the bailout equality play for later. So I wouldn't mind him keeping the Pyro, as you're also able to play Blessing of Wisdom on your Plated Beetle, which will be on your Linessa on top of everything else.
Yeah, I think that would have been nice. He's found a play that he prefers.
Take a bit more damage, but still get the card draw from Blessing of Wisdom. Fair enough. It does clean up the board, and he's not going to really be in too much trouble.
Makes a bit of space in his hand. We did see him get overdrawn earlier by Fluffy in one of the games. So maybe he's got a little bit of, not necessarily required concern, but a concern about drawing too much as well.
I think
this play doesn't look right.
That was a bit risky, I think, going for the Pyromancer over Blood Mage Consec. I mean, the argument was obviously, because I preferred going for Blessing of Wisdom, then you trigger the cat trick, then you consecrate, and then you've got a clean board. Now, if the opponent has double kill command, I mean, you're looking at a very low health total. One of the few ways in which you get blown out is precisely this one, I think, if you're Luker. So
yeah,
it seems like a very shaky line.
It didn't look good to me, but he's got a quality consecration stored, so similar things can be done. But I preferred the other line, especially now I've seen this on the board in the flesh. It's like, this doesn't look like you used your last turn well. And I think he's thinking the same right now, actually. But he's still going to be able to continue with that dude plan, continue with building boards. He's still got a very good hand. He's still got the consecration equality in his back. And at some point, he will start drawing combo pieces.
Yeah, I guess one of the questions I have is how likely is it that this is exactly right for Posesi. He just knows what to do. And, I mean, he's got Rock Delar, so he's got all the time in the world. Luker left himself vulnerable. He does have the ability to cycle the Beetle into 1 extra health. Then he can play Linessa to stabilize, 3 extra health, that is, so he can stabilize and buy, a substantial amount of time. But the deck, besides Uther, has no healing.
Which is a good reason to play Call to Arms, but he's got to worry about Unleash.
Yeah, if he plays Call to Arms, he has he gets Righteous Protector a large amount of the time, which gets him protection against the bow, so he's stabilizing. It thins the deck, so Uther is more likely to come out. But the drawback of that is, well, if you don't pick up exactly the Righteous Protector, then, you're just going to get blown up. So he can guarantee the Righteous Protector with Call to Arms, chooses to go for the more consistent Linessa, which protects him against the bow. Is he dead to anything right now that I can think of? Even Kill Command doesn't do it for the time being?
For the time being. Do you go face here with a weapon? Because
yes.
you're never trading into a minion ever again with this weapon,
no.
So why not?
We're done with the trades on the weapons here. There's no argument at all. Flanking Strike going to come out before Rock Delar, trying to min-max the value. I wouldn't have minded a Rock Delar. What the Flanking Strike does here is it just shortens the clock that is on him at the moment.
And now you are dead to Kill Command, and that Rock Delar has been in hand for a very, very long time.
Does he ever Blood Mage Consecrate in order to clear the beast to prevent the Kill Command from killing him?
It keeps the damage coming, and he needs damage. Can he set up lethal?
Well, I mean, there is a freezing trap, so he can't go face with that Linessa. That's just a given, and that's just an impossibility. So if you go for Call to Arms, Tarim can pair with it in order to generate the most possible amount of 3/3s. That's about the only line that I'm sort of observing right now.
Blood Mage, Consecration, Call to Arms sets up 15 on the board.
Not enough damn mana to do it, so it would have to be Call to Arms.
Oh, you're 10? No, you're 9. Sorry.
Call to Arms does very little here. It doesn't bring out anything but the Protector, if I'm not mistaken. We've already seen double Pyro, double Loot Hoarder, the Blood Mage is in hand, and the Beetle has been played. So Call to Arms only brings out 1 minion.
Okay, that explains that.
He's going to go as wide as he can to set up the Tarim counter push. That's exactly right, because he's going to get the spell damage Consecration. So he just needs 4 guys plus the Blood Mage on the board to win the game on turn 10. Let's see what happens. Snipe, not the card that Posesi was looking for. Rock Delar could still bail him out with 3 Arcane shots. But he is going to play the Snipe instead.
3 Arcane shots.
I mean, it's more stable to just go for the hero power, obviously, as you only need 1 Arcane shot from the follow-up. But I think Luker's got this locked down. It doesn't even need the Uther, technically. Let's see if he can do the perfect math and not get punished. The problem is wandering. If this is Wandering Monster or Freezing Trap, like Wandering Monster plus Explosive Trap, he's still fine. The only time he gets punished is when a high health minion from Wandering Monster comes out, like a 3/4 with Taunt.
Yeah.
Uther is obviously the absolute safest.
Sure. in a way.
It's all about the Wandering Monster odds.
And that's what he's. You can see when people are thinking that sort of thing because he started to sort of count numbers on the table, imaginary numbers there. So you can see that the straightforward win isn't straightforward because you've got to play around too many different things.
I mean, if it's Explosive Trap going phase, then the minions die, which is unfortunate for him. He doesn't want that to happen.
Got to pick one, Luca, whichever way you feel. And this is now the right play, not because it's the right play, but because it's the one which means you don't rope yourself to death by accident.
Yeah, when there aren't two Seekers there, we've got guaranteed lethal. We go tear him, bam. Pop the Freezing Trap, go phase, win the game. But unfortunately, no guaranteed lethal available for him right now. And as it stands, Uther is saving him.